You gotta be able to stand up in the paint on top of that stage and speak something into that person's life that's gonna change them in that moment. Yep. Now it might not stick.
Yeah.
It's not up to you to make it stick.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to you just to get those words out and give a little something to that person, because in that moment that person need it, whether they think it or not. Mm-hmm. It's your job to give a little.
Born and raised on the south side of Tallahassee, Florida. Appalachia Ridge, to be exact.
APR.
Appalachia Ridge.
728 Cobra Drive.
I'm sorry. I'll shout out. Hey, Copy Drive. Anyway, but you know, I had my share of seeing crime and being around it, and it was easy to become a product of your environment. Between like even my family, man, you know, you had a couple of people that was on the rough end, and it's so easy to become, you know, that, you know, because it's right there, and you know what I'm saying. And a lot of times I got a lot of love even in the streets, you know, because I mean that's just who we grew up with,
right?
And one thing about it is I tried. Well, the thing about it is when I saw the interaction with law enforcement, it was always bad. You know, it was always, you know, my family. You know, a lot of people didn't like law enforcement. And
just to be clear, we talking about why you chose to become a police officer, right? Okay, cool.
Yeah, we going into it. So my grandma, before she passed away, she was like, man, you know, a lot of times, you know, if you want change, you got to be the change you want to see. You know, and it stuck with me. And before, when I was a little kid, man, I used to be in DARE. And I had it like, I wanted to be a law enforcement because my DARE officer, man, cool cat, man, and he made law enforcement seem so
crazy.
cool.
You can remember your DARE officer?
Yeah, his name Officer Fountain.
Oh, he's Rodney?
I don't remember.
Dark skinned dude?
With hazel eyes. He used to work with TPD.
It got to be Rodney Fountain. He's still there.
Yeah? Older guy?
Well, no, I'm sorry. He's not still there. He just retired.
Okay, yeah. So it was Officer
retired.
Fountain at the time, and I mean, and just to see black guy
Representation matters.
Yeah,
you do.
Yeah, black guy in law enforcement, and he made it seem so cool. And he, you know, he was when he come, he always showed love, man. He was always, you know, man, handing me something.
So you basically saying you've known that you want to be a police officer since you was young.
I had the idea, you know, and when I got older, I started to experience a different thing because we were taught to run from police, like leave police alone, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's just the more I started to see the bad interaction, my grandma, what stuck with me was be the change you want to see. So it's like at this point, because I was working at the post office, making great money.
So how old you were then? How old were you?
Probably. I was 20. Nope, I was 30. I was 29, 30.
Okay.
And when I made the decision, so I was working at the post office, and I making way more money than I would have made now. You know, post office, you're making pretty good money. But that's not where I was happy at, you know, and I like helping people. I was doing personal training, so my love for people grew. So I needed a platform to be able to help people on a day-to-day basis. Law enforcement gave me that platform, you know.
That's wild.
It gave me the platform to not only be, you know, to help people, but at the same time be a positive influence. I got 4 kids. They have friends, and just to be able to, this new generation, you know, I mean, they out of control. But at the same time, when I spoke, a lot of them listened. And, you know, I had a good influence on how when I spoke, everybody listened to me. And I just knew how to talk to people. And a lot of times I created, like, I don't meet no strangers. So at the same time,
good cops don't meet strangers.
Right. Yeah. So law enforcement, it felt like the best thing to do. So I was like, man, let me go ahead and, man, look, I ain't too young, I ain't too old. You know what I mean? Right now, just go ahead. Whatever my goals and dreams were, I made it a duty to accomplish everything I said I wanted to do. At least if I didn't finish it out, I was going to at least try it. So I got into the academy. I paid my own way. I mean, I didn't.
Struggled, Dicarrio.
Yeah, listen.
Trying to tell you,
I paid it all. I mean, and it took. Came up with the money and all in one day. You know, because I was committed to doing it.
You were hustling, boy.
Yeah,
I don't know what you did.
got it though.
So I knew I wanted to do it, and God set it up where everything just flowed because that's when I knew this is where I needed to be. You know what I mean? There was no hiccups.
That's crazy.
Everything just went the way.
I can't wait to say my part because it's right on point with you.
Because I was always waiting for something to be like, you know what? This ain't gonna happen. You know, I was waiting for that. Okay, this ain't for me. This ain't for me. But every time I hit a roadblock, the roadblock will find a way to fall. You know what I'm saying? So at the end, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is it. So when I finally started to get into it and all of that, even when I started applying for jobs, now, I've never been turned down for a job.
Right.
So I tried to go down there to Winter Garden. First time. I didn't know, law enforcement interviews are different than any other.
That oral board, boy.
So I went to the oral board and I felt horribly.
You remember how many people was on your oral board?
There was like 4.
Okay. That ain't bad.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
That's kind of
still
mild.
though,
Right.
you ain't never sat in front of that many people for an interview.
But see, then thinking coming from the hood, where you running from law enforcement and all the other stuff.
Right.
I ain't gonna even lie. I went to their because I do a ride along. So I went to their check on, and there was so many law enforcement that I was about to pass out. They asked me,
it was overwhelming.
It was too many police officers.
Right.
Like I'm from the hood. Like I ain't used to seeing that many police officers. Bro, I was terrified. Like, boy, man, it's a setup, man. I'm finna go to jail. I don't know what I did, but this don't feel right. And, you know what I mean?
Interrogation.
So I'm here talking to myself, bro. You wanted them. Just
Right,
talk.
right.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Stay confident.
Yeah, you wanted them. So and when I changed my mindset, and just I rode with them for like 12 hours, man. Got to see the experience. It was great, man. Just the way I was able to see how they interacted with people. But long story short, man, I knew this is where what I wanted to do. And I even had people trying to tell me, nah, man, that, it's so corrupt.
Right.
But you shouldn't be doing that. You black, man. That
Don't
means
mess with the kids.
Yeah.
You
get all of that. You know what I'm saying? So I had that, but I knew what I wanted to do. I was focused and I was committed to what I wanted to do. So there's nothing nobody can tell you. Like once you know what you want,
there's nothing that can deter you.
Nothing can deter you. I don't care if they
mind's
try
made
to whatever they can try to block your eyes. They can try to do whatever. If you keep your eyes on the prize and you know where that prize is,
right.
And as long as you keep moving forward, I don't care what stops you. As long as you keep your feet moving, you're gonna keep going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a light at the end of that tunnel, right?
Yeah.
And you're gonna face some hurdles as you trying to reach that light.
Yeah.
You just got to be willing to jump.
Of course.
Absolutely.
I don't care what it is, whatever heights you try to even get to.
Right.
No matter how high you get up there, there's gonna always be a new level, new devil. You know what I'm saying?
I like that new level, new devil. I ain't never heard that before. I like that.
No, but seriously, but
that's what it is, though.
And the thing about it is, if it's worth it, you're gonna go through it.
You're gonna go through it.
If you really want to go through it,
if you're trying to get there, you're gonna be willing to do whatever it takes to get there.
Hear that, kids? If you really want it.
If you really want it, you're gonna do whatever it takes to get there. And that's what changed my whole mindset.
Right.
Then my kids got happy for it. You know what I mean? But anyway, how he set it up, end up Florida State, man. I am a Florida State diehard fan. Been that way since forever.
All day, baby.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
All day.
So he set it up, man. Jay Reed will tell you.
Yeah.
He was there. Matter of fact, I think we did the first interview.
6 months apart.
Yeah, we did the first interview,
Yeah.
and I don't think we both got it. I believe. Bro said, bro, look, keep going with it. I'm telling you, I mean, I got the text messages and all that other stuff. Hey, bro, keep going, man. Look, we got it, man. Just try it again, bro. I said, okay, cool. We're going to try it again.
Right.
Bro got the job, and I was like, they're like, yeah, man, we ain't got enough FTOs, so we going to have to. I said, you know what, bro, I ain't trying it no more for the year.
Nah,
bro, give yourself one more chance.
I said, do it one more time.
See, I ain't never heard this story before. So he was that close to like leaving it alone.
Listen, that was done. I said, if I don't get it this time, it's over with. Like I bumped.
Wow, I ain't never know that.
This ain't for me. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, the last time I did it, my mindset was different. It was like I walked in there, and my thing was I walked in there, and how my mindset was is y'all clocked in to hire me today,
right?
And I walked in so confident, and I walked in, man, and
that's what's up.
I shook their hand. You ain't got to shake my hand, man. I'm shaking all their hands. You know what I mean? Just
look me in the eye.
Yeah.
Because, hey, James, the thing is, they don't know what it took for you to get to that point,
bro. Listen, I overcame so many hurdles,
right?
Yeah, man.
They don't know your hurdles.
Right. For the sake of time, I ain't gonna even go into it.
Yeah,
right.
I ain't. Man, look at I'm from the streets, bro.
Boy, listen,
I got some stories.
Listen, those who know me, they know me.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? And for me to be at this point, I had a dude just get out of jail the other day, and he looked at me in uniform. He was like, "No, ain't no way, dog. I must be dreaming. That's cool, bro. You know you ain't got a uniform on. Not you. That's crazy.
Oh, man.
Hey, listen. Hey, but at the same time, bro, that's
crazy.
That speaks a lot because I didn't think I would be here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But for me to end up here and for this to be one of the best jobs I ever had in life, I mean, listen, I'll be a law enforcement officer for forever.
Right.
Because it feels so good. Even when I'm interacting with people, man, I've taken people to jail and that talk from wherever we came from to jail, bro. I had people like before I take the handcuff, let me get a hug real quick. Because I'm speaking some life.
That's what a lot of people don't know, man.
I'm speaking, bro.
That's what a lot of people don't know.
That part right there,
you know what I'm saying? Because at your lowest point, bro, that's not the end.
You can turn it around.
Yeah, but like this is not the end of the road.
You got the right voice.
A lot of people need to hear that though.
But how many of us are willing to take the time out to speak to people that we put handcuffs on like that?
Right here.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So
man, so much joy into it. And the thing about it is a lot of people don't know there's another direction. There's another way. You know what I'm saying?
It's always another way.
They've never been introduced because
you never know where you gonna hear that voice that just stick with you the rest of your life.
We could be the ones that change that for them by being talking to them, taking that time.
Hey, listen. Hey, Reed, listen. It's our job.
It's our job.
That's what you got to, as a police officer, as a firefighter, whatever, as a mama, as a daddy.
Right.
It's your job to tell people there's always an alternative to the life that you living when you living for the devil's word, right?
And that's why our peace can't be breached, because it could be that moment where we stay calm in that situation.
We don't see that person as a threat. That's it.
Exactly.
You see him as a human, as a brother. You know, son, nephew, whatever, daughter.
Yep. And I have a little more. Well, they respond to me a lot better because I'm relatable. I talk to them from.
That's key.
Listen, even while I'm talking to them, the badge off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't speak to you from an officer point. Look at bro, look, and I get real ghetto. I don't care what it is.
Because sometimes that's what it takes.
You got to.
I tell people all the time, Jane, when I'm talking to them on the street, listen. Our people,
of course,
you can't come talking to them like you're a robot.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to talk to them like you from them.
Come on, bro.
That's their language. That's our language. That's okay. People gonna pass judgment. I don't care.
From the
I know how to talk to my people.
And sometimes I'm gonna talk to my people in our language. Don't mean we get aggressive. Right. That's the culture of
Read.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. Because listen, he a minister on his way to being a pastor.
Come on.
We got a minister. We got a minister who had a badge.
Brother knowledge.
Why you became a cop, man?
It is a definitely different dynamic. It's a new journey for all of this. I've been a cop more than I've been a minister. I've only been a minister maybe a year, and it's been quite a journey. But the law enforcement side of it has been a journey too. Perseverance. I applied to my job 4 times before I got hired.
That's what's up.
The
struggle makes you stronger.
The struggle makes you stronger, and I told him I'll be back. You gonna hire me. You feel me? So I'm gonna keep coming back. You can give me this. No, all I need is one yes.
Right.
I only need one yes. So until y'all give me that, I'll be back, because I wanted my job that much. But I wanted to do this because I met a lot of people who did humanize the badge, and the Jason Ravenel.
So you met a lot of positive examples.
A lot of positive examples who were real people.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was gonna be a teacher. I was working at Florida High as a TA sub, but I also was a mall cop, a mall security cop, and where I met a lot of law enforcement officers.
Right.
And I did a ride along or two with a friend of mine that we used to work with TPD, and it changed my whole perspective.
Why?
The feeling I had while I was in a cop car. I never been in the back of one per se, but the feeling I had of feeling like, I forgot I'm in here.
Right.
You know, the how it made me feel comfortable when I did my ride on. I said, if I'm not gonna be scared, nervous, or any of that, my perspective was already changing because I was doing security. So I think the mall security, I would say, is like watered down law enforcement.
Right.
Yeah.
I was working with kids. It was like, take your GRE, you can teach kindergarten, teach elementary. But that was too routine for me. I like the spontaneity of our job.
Yes.
The unknowns. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's the rewarding part.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's nothing more rewarding than going to somebody who's about to take their life and you can save it. You know what I mean? I get more out of that than taking somebody to jail. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So those are the things and my perspectives of why I want to do this job, why I chose to do it. And I'm a spiritual person, so I prayed to God, and that's what's my purpose in life.
Yep.
What's my purpose? What do I need to be doing? And then 2 weeks later, I did that ride along. 2 months later, I was in the academy.
Hey, come on.
So just like we saying, it's like it was so smooth and so like it just happened like that. Right. And now I'm here. I'm an investigator. 4 years in, and this is one of my goals.
It's like the time flew by, and you like.
And that's what I'm saying. It's still flying and still flowing, but it's still like so promising. I still have that passion. Right. You know what I'm saying? To be able to save that life, or to be able to talk to that person and tell them it's gonna be all right.
So how old were you when you made that decision?
27, 28 maybe.
How old are you now?
33.
Okay.
So it took me a while to get in. Once I got the academy, got finished. I had some obstacles, some stuff in college I had to, surpass and stuff like that. But I got the job.
You got the job.
And it's people like us that bring that authenticity, that realness, that relatability to
Yep.
be able to. So, hey, they might call you and say, hey, man, can you go talk to them?
Right.
And you might get a whole
It
different
happens.
result.
It happens all the time. It
Yeah,
happens.
we'll get into that a little bit because it's a real thing.
Right.
Of
Right.
having
It's a
our
real
voice
thing.
out there. We matter
Right.
more than we think. We're a bigger asset sometimes than people know that we
So
are.
listen, hey,
Especially in these times.
the skin color is a tool.
Yes, sir.
It's
Yes,
a
sir.
tool, and we can't be afraid. We can't shy away from it.
No, we can't look at that as like, oh, that's disrespectful
Black
that they're using me
privilege.
because I'm black.
Shout out,
More
Charlamagne.
so is that
And in a way, in a large way, it's black privilege.
Yeah.
But you know,
Yeah.
it's privilege that you got to be responsible with. You can't just utilize it in the way that you want to utilize it. You
It's
got to
unique.
understand that
it's unique
is
and it's a
unique.
big liability too
It
because
is a
we're
liability.
always being looked at in such a way that, you know, how are you professional?
Right.
How are you this? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I do dress up when I go to work. Like shirt and tie.
Right.
You know, I don't have to.
Yeah.
But I do it because I want to show that professionalism for what I'm
You
representing.
never know who
Right.
watching.
You never know who's
Exactly.
watching.
It's a level of awareness that you
It
got to have
is.
when you wear the
It
badge.
is.
Yeah.
You definitely got to have that awareness.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we 2 for 2 right now because I did hear a little piece about kids in
Yes.
yours, and I definitely heard it in
Yours.
yours. I'm gonna just go ahead and spoil it. When you get to me, we're gonna talk about kids too. So, Dicarrio, you up, bro? Why you
What's
became a firefighter?
happening?
It's a little different for you because
Yes.
you are not a law enforcement officer, but you are.
I get
a
mistaken
firefighter.
for one sometimes.
Hey, you do wear the badge.
Yeah.
You
You are
look
part
you
of the
do look
drug
like
group.
you do look like the police man, a little bit.
It's the mustache, cuz.
My wife on here,
The mustache.
boy,
You do look like the
like,
police.
yeah.
He look more like the police than we do.
What's the look, Johnson? What's the look?
That mustache.
The mustache?
Mustache.
Okay. I used to have the handlebars. I used to comb it up. I got into it. I got some pictures I'll release later. So I was in college trying to figure it out, just like most people, young, in my 20s, working full time, going to school, paying for myself. And I was like, my math teacher, he was like, do you want to make money now or you want to make money later? You need to figure out what you want to do, because my grades started struggling because I was working so much and I couldn't commit that time to studying. So I was like, what do you really want to do? Because at that point I had worked retail. I think I worked at Sam's Club. I had worked at, I had a sit down desk job at ACS and answering phones and stuff like that. I hated being in the office setting. I'm like, bro, I cannot sit here all day.
Men don't like to sit.
Right.
God, I used to take all my breaks and a little bit extra. I'm like, man, I cannot do this in this office all the time. And so I was like, all right, what do you really want to do? And my grandma always told me, that grandma voice, always be in a position to help somebody.
Right.
There you go.
So I was like, all right, what do I want? I need something that's going to be spontaneous. It's not going to be the same thing every day. And it's not going to be like, expected. Spontaneous, like, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So I was like, all right, firefighter. I was like, and the funny part about it, one of my mother's family friends tried to recruit me when I was fresh out of high school, and I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. I want to do like theater.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I went to TCC, took some theater classes.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm good on the spot. You know what I'm saying? That impromptu.
Okay.
So I took a few theater classes, and I realized what a real beginning actor's life looked like, and I was like, nah, that ain't gonna pay the bills. Not right out the bat.
Right.
Unless you got rich parents or something.
It's a long road.
It's a long road.
Later on, I've been there, but we'll talk
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. So I was like, all right. So immediately, I had to pay my way through fire school. You know what I'm saying? So it was like all or nothing. Like, this is my money. I can't fail.
Right.
I got to go through it.
Yep.
Went to fire school. It was Monday through Thursday, Saturdays 8 to 5. So I had my full-time job during the day, talking on the phone, studying. And you remember, Dale Washington?
Yeah.
I was in there with him.
Yeah.
And Cal punked out at the end and went to the Army, but he's still doing good.
Real good.
Yeah. And so we got through it, and it was tough, man. It was more tough mentally because there was a lot of book work.
Yeah.
A lot of book work. We was, you were learning whatever chapter you was gonna do, or chapters, The next day, you was taking that test, erasing that out of your mind, and taking more tests.
Right.
So it was very accelerated, very fast paced. I think the course now is probably 6 months, 7 months, and then after that, I had to go to EMT school. A guy told me, "Oh, you could do EMT school online." I tried to do that fast course through, I think it was El Paso, Texas. It was a program. You did it all the book work online, and you flew out to Texas for 2 weeks or whatever. I failed their final exam. And then she wouldn't give me my completion, whatever, to take the national registry. So I failed, had to go to TCC, do their program. I learned a little bit more. I passed that test. So in between that time, I think I got the job in Pensacola, because in Pensacola, we didn't have to be an EMT. So I went to Pensacola, kept studying, passed the test, and had the opportunity. Matter of fact, I was finna go to reserves. Air Force Reserve, because it was a guy who worked for Air Force Reserves and the fire department. And this is why I started learning that it was a different way to get into my career path. And he was like, "Man, you could have did this. So I signed up for the Air Force Reserves. I got my, what is it called when you do your basic training. That's what it was. It was basic training. I got my papers to do basic training. I hadn't really talked to my wife at the time, who was probably pregnant or just had my second. And she was like, "You finna do what?" I was like, "Man, I'm just trying to make money, provide for us." And then I ended up getting in the call from Tallahassee. So I had to tell my recruiters, like, "Look, I got a job for Tallahassee. It's going to interfere with my basic training." It's like, well, it's neither all or nothing. So I had to cancel that, got a job in Tallahassee, came and been, hitting the ground ever since then, and it's been rewarding. I've been in the place, like you said, to help and talk to people.
I was about to say rewarding how?
Rewarding because on the job you see how the difference is between people dealing with white people and black people,
right?
And you are the
and
only
other
one.
Cultures too, right?
Other cultures too, being able to speak their language,
right?
Yeah.
So you on the scene and you see. You're the only voice of reason in the room of how to deal with this person. Right. They may be frustrated, they may be emotional, they may be disrespectful, but you're the only voice of reason. And for some reason, they're going to always communicate with you better. And you're going to be the voice.
We're that comfort zone.
Yeah. We're the comfort zone.
It's like having someone who speaks Spanish and you need someone who
Exactly.
Right.
I know that. I'm guessing y'all deal with a lot of the stuff that we deal with initially on scene. Like when y'all go to scenes where there's no need for a police officer, y'all dealing with a lot of the same things we dealing with. Yeah. Trying to calm scenes down.
Yep.
Trying to get people to just chill out and relax. And allow us,
you gotta take them to the
let
other
us
room.
do what we need to do.
Yep.
And in y'all case, y'all saving lives a lot of times.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't just putting out fires and trying to clear out smoke. Y'all literally saving lives. And a lot of times people get in y'all way.
Yeah. They get in our way because they don't know the norm of tragedy or trauma,
because tragedy is not normal.
It's not normal. It's not normal.
Right.
People are usually don't experience it until
And that's one thing about it is we will all experience tragedy at some point in our lives.
It's
we don't
natural.
know when, but it's not normal.
It's so natural.
So you can't expect everybody to react the same way, right?
And some people may be. I ain't gonna try to get on too much of a soapbox, but some people may not show leniency to somebody who doesn't look like them where they come from, so they may treat them more harsh. So the biggest thing that happens is on the medical scene where somebody mama died and a person is erratic, they're emotional, they're not listening, and hey, all right, we can't do our job, so they call in a code over the radio, and then that's when law enforcement come in. So I be trying to talk to those people down, like, look, you don't want this to happen, because if this happen, this is gonna happen. Right. It may work, it may not, but I gotta say it because they may not know. It's like, look, I get it. We got, unless you can treat them or you got some type of expertise we don't know about, let us do our job.
We know they don't, because they wouldn't have called you.
Exactly. You called us. Let us do our job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then we're going to go from there, but you don't want that next step, because that next step is going to make things worse. It's going to make things worse. So I thrive being in that spot, and I console people who have lost people. I console, just the person who's experienced a traffic accident. Most people don't even know what a traffic accident feel like. When they rattle, they're not thinking right. You know what I'm saying? They're not saying the right stuff.
Shock.
That shock. They're in shock. So being in that space is the most rewarding part. Like, I know I'm leaving this scene. I made the difference. I made that person feel a little bit better about their situation, and it don't have to escalate.
Yep.
Hey, I just got a question though while we on that. As far as the perspectives of our parents and where they put us at, what they think. Did y'all people have a perspective when they said you want to be a first responder? Like,
that's a good question. That's on here.
Okay.
That's
so
on here.
I just thought about that because my mom in particular she didn't register the fact of what I'm really getting myself into.
Right. And I
to
think
the point where she was like, you gonna carry real bullets? I'm like, listen, this is real, mama.
This Nerf gun.
This ain't no mama. You know,
I'm gonna wear a bulletproof vest.
Right.
Though.
Yeah. So no, but that's how she had to really put things in perspective. Like, my son's about to really be
right.
I hear.
So I was just wondering.
My mother, you know, I try to keep a lot of what I do on a daily basis away from my mom. Every once in a while, I tell her something that I went through in that day. You know what I'm saying? But I try to keep that away because I understand she's a mother. Right. She's a female.
Yeah.
You know, and she's a mother.
Yeah.
She love her son.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So she don't want her son to ever be put in danger, right? She's mama bear. At the end of the day. But my mother is such a strong black woman that she allows me to do the things that I think are right in my life for myself.
Right.
If I think it's a good idea, she let me do it.
Right.
As long as she don't think it's crazy. Because becoming a police officer isn't crazy. It's just scary. You know what I'm saying? So, and then as parents, as black parents, whether you a mother or a father, you don't know what. You don't know nothing about police officers. Nope. Police work, right?
Based off your experiences.
Right. All you know is what you see on TV. So I consciously not tell my mother everything that I do on a daily basis.
Right.
But with that said, why I became a police officer? I became a police officer mainly because of the kids. You know, I've known I wanted to be a police officer since I was a young kid. I can remember being in my room, in my bedroom. Well, me and my brother shared the bedroom because my uncle stayed with us too. So I can remember being in my bedroom, trying to recite I Have a Dream speech by Martin Luther King. Didn't know it. The internet, it was dial up. And I don't even think we had a computer in the house by then. So, you know, I was kind of making up the I Have a Dream speech to myself as I go. I was standing in the middle of my room next to our bunk bed, and I would say what I thought was the I Have a Dream speech. Because even at 8, 9, 10 years old, I understood what equality was. I understood what doing the right thing and being a good person was. And I identified Martin Luther King as a good person. God. And that in itself didn't necessarily make me want to be a police officer, but it made me want to be a good person.
Right.
And in my mind at that age, I understood that police officers are good people.
Right.
Police officers are those people who come to save you from the bad people. So as an adult, I went off to college. Got a football scholarship at Clark Atlanta University. Didn't graduate because I was a hard head.
He was a good quarterback.
I was out there living my own life. Not a life according to God.
Right.
You know, I had a good foundation though.
You got to go through it.
I had a good foundation. I had a good mama.
Right.
I had what I felt like was a good daddy. He had his flaws. We'll talk about that on another day too. But my daddy was in my life.
Mine too.
So I had a mama and a daddy.
Right.
So I had a solid foundation.
Right.
So even though I went off to college and went crazy, went buck wild, did all the things I wasn't supposed to do, but we all did that when we was in college, right? You know what I'm saying? So I went off to college, got buck wild, forgot about being a cop. But then I kind of hit like a wall. One night it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, fellas. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and it just didn't feel right. I could feel my mother way down in Cairo, Georgia, because she had to move to Cairo by then from Tallahassee. I could just feel like she just felt like her son wasn't living right. And your mama, when she a good mama, when she raised you right, she may not tell you every time when you living wrong, when you doing something wrong, when she feel bad about something, but she can feel it and you can see it in her eyes. And even when you ain't around her, you can feel that pain that she going through. And to this day, my mama has never ever said to me, son, I feel like you're living a life that you're not supposed to be living. But I can feel it.
What was you doing out there, bro?
Just stupid stuff, man. We ain't gonna talk about
getting messy.
Well, stupid stuff. Just getting messy and doing stupid stuff, right? Living a life that wasn't according to God's word, living a life that wasn't according to the life that my mother and father raised me to be.
Yeah.
There you go.
And that made me feel uncomfortable. And it was that one night around 2 o'clock in the morning when I felt that. And it's no lie. It's no lie. I called my homeboy G-Rod. I was the best man in his wedding. I said, G-Rod, I need you, bro. He said, what you talking about? I said, I need you to come help me pack my stuff. I got to go.
Gotta get
I'm
out.
talking about in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
Specifically Jonesboro, Georgia.
Yeah.
I said, bro, come over here. You know what? That's why I was the best man in this wedding, because he came at 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's what's up.
Packed all my stuff up on a trailer. I had my mama old expedition that she gave me. Packed it all up, talking about to the brim. The trailer I had packed to the brim, roped it off, strapped it off, hit 75 South for Cairo, Georgia, where my mama had to move to. I was pulling into the yard as she was walking out the house. This is how God worked. Mama looked at me, she ain't asked no questions. No questions. She said, the door unlocked. Now, any other time, your mama gonna ask you why you here.
Yeah.
I've been living in Atlanta for 8 years.
Yeah.
And you ain't gonna ask me why I'm here?
Yeah.
Why I got all my stuff packed up like I'm moving back home? She ain't asked that.
Mama.
That's how I knew that my mama knew that I was living a life that wasn't according to her word, the way my mother and my father raised me in God.
Yep. Been there.
She said the door open.
Yeah.
Packed what I could unpack what I could unpack, and I was home. Lived with my sister for like 6 months, her and her 2 sons. My little nephew used to come in the room every morning. I was sleeping on the twin-size bed at my sister Ebony's house. My little nephew used to come in there and unlock the door. When I used to wake up, he was standing right there looking at me dead in the face, smiling with a snotty nose. Living with my sisters, it was humbling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then my daddy was like, son, I need you to come stay with me for a while. I can't drive because I've been drinking too much. They put that machine on my car. So I moved with my dad. I stayed with him for 4 years. Him, my stepmom, my sister and her son, she had just had a newborn. They stayed with us for a little while before they moved out. But when they moved out, it was just me and my stepmom. Now I'm kind of like trying to get my life back together. So I remember I used to want to be a police officer when I was a little kid. I can remember saying I have a dream speech.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Now I'm living with my daddy. It's a humbling experience. My brother Ryan was always getting on me. You staying with mom and you staying with stepmom and step and daddy. You ain't no man. You ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Pressure.
You out there getting free rent, eating free. Okay, humbling.
Yeah.
Very.
But I accepted. But I knew what I had a goal.
Right.
By then I knew I wanted to be a police officer again. I knew what I needed to do. I need to stay out of trouble.
Right.
I'm home living with my stepmom and my dad. Can't go to the club. Ain't got no money. Can't be Ryan having sex with this girl and that girl. Ain't got no money.
Right.
She gonna make a baby and I gotta take care of it.
Right.
Yep.
Ain't got no money.
Right.
So what I did, went to work, maybe to the gym, went home, all the way to Wakulla County for 4 years. Then I decided I was gonna go to the academy. Had to save up a little bit of money, but not enough. Got accepted. Financial aid ain't come through. Killed the dream.
Yeah.
Killed the dream,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
That's
man.
a shot in the back.
Nah, not so much though.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I just can't get in right now. So I waited like another year. Then my dad and my stepmom stepped up to the plate. They said, hey, we're gonna pay this. They paid the majority of it. I paid the rest of it. Got in. Did the academy. Finished the academy. Was lucky enough to get a job with the city of Tallahassee working in records at the police department. Used that as a foot in the door. And eventually became a police officer. Why did I become a police officer though? I had a mother and a father. I can remember coming up as a kid playing baseball. That was the first sport we played.
Yeah.
We didn't play football.
Play baseball.
My mama came home and said, I signed y'all up for baseball. Baseball? Baseball?
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
mind you, now, we had a first cousin. Like Jay, I had a first cousin who played for Florida State at the time.
Yeah.
Why you signing us up for baseball? We want to play football, mama.
Yeah.
My cousin was playing for Florida State. I want to play football. But we went out to baseball because we were kids. We was athletes. My mother signed us up for sports because she knew that when we got old enough, she didn't want us to be out in the streets.
Yeah. Save.
She needed us to be busy because she knew that she was a single mother and she had to work hard. So she wasn't going to always be there for us. The last thing that she wanted was for us to get out of school and go straight home and do nothing. Because she knew if we did that, we wasn't coming home.
Yeah.
We'd eventually get sucked into the streets. So she signed us up for baseball. It didn't matter. Matter of fact, I lied. The first sport we played was gymnastics. She signed me and my brother up for gymnastics.
You don't hear that too often.
John Knox.
Yeah.
But we're past that. True was there. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So,
You had them tights on, bro.
bro, I ain't had no tights on, bro.
Don't chop it down like that. Don't chop it cut.
So we played baseball. What baseball brought to this all but God, bro. What baseball brought to us was it allowed us to see the other side of the tracks. Okay? We didn't play baseball at Country Club. We didn't start playing baseball at Capitol Park. We played baseball at Winthrop Park. When the park is right there at Benton and Thomasville.
Yeah.
It's on the white side of town. So when we went to baseball practice, when we went to baseball games, we saw mamas and daddies. We didn't just see mama.
Yeah.
We seen daddies. Daddy was a lawyer. Daddy was an insurance salesman. Daddy sold cars. Daddy was a lobbyist. Daddy was in politics. Daddy had his own business. Daddy was successful. We saw other people's daddies. So we saw how the other side of the tracks live. We were exposed to the other side of the tracks. I went to baseball practice. I went to baseball games, right? My mama worked in a law firm, so I was around her co-workers a lot. But you know what? Where I went to school at, I went to Hartsfield. I went to Fairview. I went to Rickers. I hung around my cousins who all lived in the projects. So I got to see both sides of the tracks. Just being exposed to this side and that side allowed me to be wise and have a mindset that was in the middle and understand both sides.
Yeah.
It's a creative balance.
That's what Florida High did for me too.
Right. It's exposure.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now what do I get to see? Now I get to see all the kids who don't have daddy. My daddy would come pick us up every other weekend. So we had him in our life. But I went to school with kids who ain't even know they daddy.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, long story short is, I became a police officer because police work is a stage. It's a stage that I can stand on and speak to kids and people in general. One thing about police work, when you talking to people, they may not want to listen to you, but guess what they got to do? They got to listen to you.
Yeah, they got to.
So it's my job as a police officer to make sure I'm speaking life into them. I can't waste that moment. You can't waste that moment. You got to be able to stand up in the paint on top of that stage and speak something into that person's life that's going to change them in that moment. Now, it might not stick.
Yeah.
It's not up to you to make it stick. It's up to you just to get those words out and give a little something to that person, because in that moment, that person needed, whether they think it or not. It's your job to give a little.